Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Question by the Moody Blues. This is the second reaction on the channel so far to the Moody Blues. The first one was to Knights in White Satin, and it was from a live performance when they were much older, further on in their careers. So this is the first time I'm actually hearing an original audio recording from back in the day. So this is going to be fun, I think. This was also the first place winner for Songs by the Moody Blues. That poll was on Patreon and on YouTube for channel members. Yeah, this came in first. And I am going to be doing very soon a full album reaction to the Moody Blues. Their album, Days of Future Past, was the winner for a poll for the next full album that's going to be coming up on the channel. And again, when I do that, I don't do the entire album all at once. I actually go track by track, but I do it in pretty quick succession. So like 1 or 2 days in between each recording, and I go back and listen to the previous tracks and just keep building them on until I get all the way through the entire experience. But this I wanted to do first because it was the winner of the poll for Moody Blues songs first before we decided to do the full album. So I wanted to honor that first and foremost. Then we will be going on to the full album. And I'm very excited about all of this. I've heard a lot about this group, and I can't wait to find out for myself what this is all about. But also, why else are we here? I am a professional, classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we dive into all of this music, track by track, listening for how it was composed, the instrumentation, form analysis, and music theory, maybe some instrument demos. And of course, how do we relate to this music? Why might we like it? Or why might we not like it? So again, after this, in the next coming weeks, by the time this is posted, I will be into the full album for Days of Future Past. Not all of those tracks can be released publicly, so be looking for a few of them, but then the rest can be found on Patreon and available for channel members. So, no more delay. Let's listen. Okay, here we go.
Stop and look around us. There is nothing that we need in a world of persecution that is burning in its greed.
Wow, okay. Wow, that was invigorating. All right. This is a group that I've heard of for many, many years. I've always, I guess, kind of known of the name of the band, the Moody Blues, and I just never really knew who they were. So I know I listened on the channel, I reacted to Knights in White Satin, and I had heard that song in the past, but just never really sat down to really pay attention to it, and wow, was I glad that I got to do that with that reaction, because it is a beautiful song and it was done beautifully on stage. That was amazing with the orchestral sounds and just everything. Excellent mixing there for the live performance. Gosh, but I will be honest in admitting that I've had a weird stereotype, or I don't know, just a picture in my head of what this group actually is, and this is not it. It kind of wasn't with the Knights in White Satin, but this is not what I was thinking this group was. I really thought that it was more, I don't know, not crooner, not really doo-wop, but I don't know, maybe a mix of the two. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just, I'll just say it. I just associate it with older music, and it just all kind of ran together. So I am pleasantly surprised. And there's nothing wrong with all of that older music. It's great music, but I'm just saying I thought that's what this band was. And here on the channel, I'm really getting to know a lot of different types of rock music, like prog rock, psychedelic rock, things like that. Hard rock, metal, symphonic, you name it. But this is taking me by surprise here. Pleasantly, like I said. A lot of energy. Already mentioning some heavy things. I heard something about war. So we're asking big questions here, I think, in life. Heard something about someone knocking on the door, and the drum imitated that. That was really cool. All right, so at this point, the universe is just a blank slate for this song and this group. So I'm going to back it up a little bit, and then we'll keep going forward. Here we go.
We need in a world of persecution that is burning in its greed. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? Because the truth is hard to swallow. That's what the war of love is for. It's not the way that you say it when you do those things to me. It's more the way that you mean it when you tell me what will be. And when you stop and think about it, you won't believe it's true that all the love you've been giving has all been meant for you. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, lose the love I knew could safely lead me through. Between the silence of the mountains and the crashing of the sea, there lies a land I once lived in, and she's waiting.
Okay. I'm not sure about where to stop this song here. I can't let it go all the way through because of copyright, but it just okay. This new softer section here is really beautiful. That tracks with the Nights in White Satin, especially the dreamy strings in the background. I'm going to admit that I'm not listening to the lyrics here. I'm too swept up in the mood. Is it bluesy? I don't know yet. And just the instrumentation, the atmosphere, the dynamic range. But also, I felt like I was like turning a Jack-in-the-Box, the old little kid toy. Like it even kind of slowed, and I'm just like, oh, is that beginning part going to come back? Because it just stopped. Subito, which is what we use in classical music, like a subito piano, where you're playing something really, really loud, and then all of a sudden, immediately it drops down to really, really soft. And it's a really great effect. Just put on the brakes. So that's what we had here. But then I wasn't able to trust it. I was like, is it going to come back? How loud is that going to be? But I don't mind if the beginning section comes back. I was just like, ooh, when is that going to happen? So I'm going to rewind this just a little bit, and I'm going to try to relax a little bit and enjoy this beautiful section a little bit more. I'll try to listen for the words, but I still don't know what's coming. What kind, what is this form? This is interesting for sure. The form of this piece, like how it's structured. Okay. It is quite beautiful though.
between the silence of the mountains and the crashing of the sea. There lies a land I once lived in, and she's waiting there for me. But in the gray of the morning, my mind becomes confused between the dead and the sleeping, and the road that I must choose. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, to lose the love I knew, could safely lead me to the land that I once knew, to learn as we grow old the secrets of our soul. It's not the way that you say it when you do those things to me. It's more the way you really mean it when you tell me what will be.
All right, yeah, so we headed back into the new section, and they worked their way up to it to the point where it was really obvious. So I was cool with it. It didn't give me a jump scare. Some of you might know already. I don't care for the jump scares. It's fun and all, I guess, but okay. So it did not do that. But this middle section, this is so interesting. It's sort of a ballad with these bookends or end caps of this crazy energy. So I'm not quite sure how this works into a question. I heard things being questioned at some point, but then in the middle it was talking about, was there something about love? But then it was talking about the land that where someone used to live or where they belong, and like between the mountains and the sea or something. And so is this about war? I heard something about war. Okay, we'll get there. I will look at the lyrics. This last section, though, it is a recap from the beginning, but it's like super energized. It's just even more. Very operatic, huge production. It's something. So I'm going to try to back it up to before that section started, and then we'll hear it on out. How in the world is this going to end? What is going on? Okay, so there was a fade out there, and the track ended right there. I did hit pause, but it was right when it was ending. So does this continue on into another track? Let me know. Maybe I should go ahead and at least listen to the beginning of that next track at some point, or do a reaction to the next track. I don't know. Just let me know. If it doesn't, that's okay, because that also works, because it's like the unending question, the not answered question. So the unanswered question. Okay, so I get it. So it poses a question at the beginning, and it's pretty heavy stuff, about war and life, and and then I think the middle section is a beautiful ballad that sort of addresses the important things in life, at least to this person. But then is it like, that was a good answer, but it still wasn't enough? So like, okay, here's my question. Oh, and here's a beautiful answer. All right. But still, what about this? So I feel like, there are just always questions about life. And I think what we have to learn is that you can't answer every single question. You have to sort of be okay with some questions going unanswered. So is that the angst that goes into this song? So the bookends, the end caps, are full of energy, and it's great fun, actually, but there is some angst to it. There is. And then the ballad part in the middle sort of gives you some peace. But nothing in life is certain, so the questions are going to come back. Okay, this is really cool. I like it. One thing that I sort of found here at the end, so we'll just sometimes go back to the beginning and listen to where we started, but I want to hear something right here at the end. I felt like there was a line in the vocal harmonies that, to me, for some reason, it was sort of in the shape of a question mark, like an actual question mark. I can't quite describe it. It was just how my brain interpreted it. Let's see if we can go back and see where that was. That. To me, that line right there, I don't know why, but for some reason that just calls out question mark. And then after that, then it just sort of, continued on into this very quick fade out. It was a very quick fade out. I'm a little uncomfortable with the ending. It's not a bad ending. It's just like, what's happening? But I think maybe that's also the point, is that we have to sit with the discomfort of not being able to answer every question. And so that's how the song is going to end as well. But I just thought that little vocal harmony line there sort of represented the ultimate ending punctuation on the end of this question here we have. Okay, I got to check out the lyrics, right? I think I caught a lot of them by the end. Okay, why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? They did that trick several times, but it's not quite so obvious that it was annoying. It was just kind of fun. It becomes a part of the background, the drums, with the knocking. It's pretty cool. It becomes more of a musical gesture, but it plays right into the words there with 1,000 million questions and hate. Oh, about hate and death and war. Yeah. Because when we stop and look around us, there is nothing that we need in a world of persecution that is burning in its greed. Wow. Okay, why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? Because the truth is hard to swallow. That's what the wall of love is for. It's not the way that you say it. Yeah, this is the part I didn't catch on. When you do those things to me, it's more the way that you mean it. When you tell me what will be, and when you stop and think about it, you won't believe it's true that all the love you've been giving has all been meant for you. So someone's being very selfish. Could it be a person, or is it more like a society or even a country? I don't know. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, to lose the love I knew could safely lead me through. So you do start to believe that they're talking about a person. But then, between the silence of the mountains and the crashing of the sea, there lies a land I once lived in. Oh, and she's waiting there for me. Okay, so, well, no, it still could be not exactly a person, but more of a way of life. But in the gray of the morning, my mind becomes confused between the dead and the sleeping, and the road that I must choose. Between the dead and the sleeping. This seems, more like being aware of your surroundings and reality. That could include love, the love of a person, but yeah, I don't think that's what all of this is about. I'm looking for someone to change my life, for a miracle in my life, to learn as we grow old the secrets of our souls. It's not the way that you say it. Yeah, this is in a world of persecution that is burning in its greed. All right. Yeah, I'm going with life as a whole. Society, morality, humanity, all of the above. That could include love, like romantic love. And because of that, I think that everyone can sort of connect with this song on whatever level they need in that moment. That's nice, where it reaches everyone universally. But wow, this is heavy stuff. Okay, so one thing I want to go back and look at, just at the very beginning, it was the ahs, the singing that came in. I feel like that is sort of a central theme, a central motif that goes all the way through, including the ahs at the end for the question mark. They didn't seem the same at the beginning. It seemed a little bit more heartfelt by the end, a little bit more desperate. Let's hear the ahs at the beginning. And I love this sort of Spanish sort of bolero sort of guitar. Great drum entrance there. It goes hand in hand with the strumming sound. Love that chord. Yeah.
Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door with 1,000 million questions?
I love how it sets the drums off to doing something else there too. Wow. Okay, so we didn't even get to the ahs yet. I think it happens later on. I'm just trying to think of when they happened at the beginning here. I love all the layering of the music here. So what I was getting at with the ahs is that there is this gesture, this textural gesture that occurs through the entire thing. So just the sound of the strings being strummed, there are percussive overtones just from striking the strings as you go. And I know that there are so many notes happening with the chords there, but if you kind of sit back, you can hear the textural whoosh, the sound of the actual strumming of the strings. And then the percussion comes in very shuffly. And then we're sort of still lacking a solid structure like underneath. So with the knocking, that sort of tips us over into that, and you start to hear more distinct drums. And then the bass line comes in that establishes that even more. But it's all of those textures and how they're connected at first and they're brought in layer by layer, but then you still have the structure. And then the vocals here, the main vocal, the line is very stark. And because of that, it almost does kind of seem like a lone person standing there asking questions to the void. Yeah. So as the song went on, what I noticed is that textural sound that continues on in different ways, including with the lines, the vocal, the choir sounds, and then the string sounds, and then more shuffly sounds with the percussion. There's just so much of that And it does sort of bring the bookends together. It sort of makes it all a little bit more connected. But let's just keep going. Yeah, the voice is almost covered up. Okay. Yeah, so there's something more angelic about the ahs and this when it does this. Yeah, and then the vocalist actually does his own ah version of it. Is that an aha moment, or is that a screaming into the void because you're not getting your questions answered moment? I don't know. So this is like a choir of angels singing that, even though it is more straightforward in delivering the question, the ah. But at the end, I feel like there's more angst. And it's a little bit more desperate sounding at the end. Here, it was like the heavens opened up. It was kind of nice. It was really beautiful. All right, let's keep going. Love the bass line here. Love it. Never get an answer. Okay, subito. But you hear the whoosh, whoosh. It's still whoosh, whooshy, whooshy, whoosh. So all the with the percussion had to be handed over, along with the dun, 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 the actual guitar strumming had to be handed over to the guitars that are taking it here in this middle section. And I believe there is percussion that comes in later. Let's move ahead. And I love the atmosphere of this middle section. The strings. I'm looking for a miracle in my life, and if you could see what it's done to me, lose the love I knew could safely lead me through between the silence. Well, I love that. I'm going to have to play. Let's see what it does. My life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life, and if you could see what it's done to me, lose the love I knew could safely lead me through between the silence. It's beautiful. Of the mountains and the crashing of the sea. It's a little simple line there. I liked how they were able to sort of sneak all the strings in. But those strings really are reverby and really in the background. But it has to be that way to keep that textural motif going all the way through. Okay, so let's move ahead a little bit. I want to get into the operatic, I don't know, almost like Broadway symphonic poem kind of moment here. It was really great. Say it when you do those things to me. It's more the way you really mean it when you tell. Now it's all the vocals in front. They're in the spotlight. Okay, and this is obvious. Yeah. No jump scare. Okay, but hello. Love it. Aha, aha. But wait. See, and there's that line again. I think it's more demanding. Like, no, I want this answered. But I still like the bolero sound. Excellent. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? With 1,000 million questions about hate and death and war. When we stop and look around us, hear the bass line is doubled now. Yeah, and so there's that line again. Okay, so the last thing I want to bring up is the main vocals. So that lead singer, is he the one who sang the lead for Nights in White Satin? I think I recognize the tone of his voice. There is an innocence to his voice. It's not the most precise form of singing. Like, there were some notes that were approximated. I'm not going to say out of tune, but just not absolutely textbook perfectly in tune. And, as a classically trained ear, we get pretty particular about that. But in some situations in music, singing perfectly in tune doesn't fit. And then other times, and this does sort of go with more classical structured music, that if there are some notes that are out of tune, they're going to stand out. But this is a platform of music in which there's more flexibility. I actually think that if every single note was approached perfectly and there was no sliding in between, and that it would be weird. It wouldn't seem real. So as I'm listening, and I may have even kind of made a little face when I heard one note that was just like a little bit sharp, it's not that I don't care for it or that I think there's something wrong with it. Not at all. It's just that that's what I've been trained not to do with notes. And so I hear that and I'm like, oh, that one just wandered a little bit. But with this style, it wouldn't work any other way. It needs to be this way. Like someone is telling their story. Someone is desperately asking questions. And I guess it could make you think, how good is their lead singer? But I heard what he did, if it's the same one in Nights in White Satin. It was beautiful. And no, he doesn't have, this person here, if it's the same, they don't have this perfect, picturesque vibrato and, but there's an endearing quality and a tone to the singing voice that really draws you in. Like you feel it's just you and him speaking in that moment. And if it were too perfect, there would be distance put between you. Like this person is up on stage and you're way in the back of the audience. So to me, it makes it more personal and it fits. Okay, that was Question by the Moody Blues. Excellent. So I do know that this group started in 1964 and this song came out in 1970. So this is a few years in to their careers, and it is the start of the 70s rock music, so I can see how this would fit in, and I am really excited to fill in all the puzzle pieces, like what they did up to this point and what they did afterwards. And that includes the full album coming up for Days of Future Past. I'm not sure what year that came out, so I don't know where it falls in with this one, but this was really great. I loved the atmosphere, the energy, the weird form of the piece, the ballad part, all of it. It was really great. Even some awesome string lines. It'd be fun to play this one live on stage. Like orchestra gig? Yeah. So thank you to everyone who voted for this one on the poll on Patreon and for channel members. I'm so glad I got to hear it. And I will be continuing on with that poll, but I am going to stop for now and do the Days of Future Past album. So be looking for that as well. Right now we are finishing up Genesis, Selling England by the Pound. So Days of Future Past will come next. And of course, will this go on my playlist? Yeah. Yes. I'll be listening to this one a lot. It's great. Okay. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay and keep listening.